You're right, folks, it's Boston here, and welcome back to Opinion Corner. Today we're talking about the Battlefield 1 Open Beta, which I've been playing on the PS4. I'm playing it instead of my usual Overwatch time. Now, Battlefield 1 has been well documented over the last 6 months, with fans of first-person shooters thinking that it's going to be absolutely amazing. I was a little bit more skeptical after the last few Battlefield games that have come out, and obviously the first-person shooter genre being completely inundated with absolute garbage recently. Games like Call of Duty, which are just taking it too far, just really poor attempts at AAA first-person shooters. That being said, it's interesting to have a first-person shooter set in World War I again. It's been a very long time. I doubt a lot of you will have even played the original Medal of Honor games, but that setting is very interesting, particularly now, as after games like Call of Duty Modern Warfare coming out, the various versions of Modern Warfare and Black Ops, whereas Battlefield 1 is set in the Great War or World War I. Now, one thing I noticed with the gameplay, as you all know from watching my various videos, I'm not particularly good at first-person shooters, so this is more a personal experience to me. In a normal first-person shooter, you can take quite a few hits, you can run away. Battlefield 1 doesn't really have that. If you're getting shot, it is highly unlikely that you will find cover in time to survive. It's 2 or 3 shots, 2 or 3 well-placed shots, and you're dead. There are aspects of the game that I think are well done at the moment. Obviously, it is open beta, so there are aspects of the game that are included in the beta that may not be featured in the final version. There is also aspects that don't work fully yet, if at all. It is a warning you receive when you first log into Battlefield 1. I found while I was playing that if I wasn't in a tank, a plane, or on the back of a horse, I was unlikely to win unless I was a sniper. The impending doom while you're playing, knowing that if someone spots you and manages to line you up, you are going to die, means that you play a lot more conservatively, which really that's what a war-based first-person shooter should be about. You don't want to just continually run at the enemy until the enemy is so overwhelmed by everyone running from every direction that they have to fall back. You want to slowly move towards an objective. You want to gain ground, and that was the whole draw with Battlefield 1 for me, was that it did feel like you were gaining ground, that you would all huddle round a wall and slowly over time you would beat back the opposition, and that was fun if you weren't just being mindlessly mowed down by a plane that would instantly crash into something afterwards. The people who are using particularly the planes are, from what I've seen so far on the PS4, absolutely terrible. Now, I got in a plane and I was equally terrible. The game is strove for realism to the point where when you're in a plane, the engine, the propeller, the wings, the frame of the cockpit inhibit your ability to see where you're flying. Now, kudos to the realism. That is next level realism, that. But paired with the very obscure control system on the PS4 for flying the plane, I think it just makes being in a vehicle somewhat boring. The same with the tank. You've got the narrow window of the tank, and yes, before you throw the comment of, yeah, well, it's striving for realism, I completely understand that. But when striving for realism affects my enjoyment of those aspects of the game, then yeah, maybe it's a step too far. I think, unfortunately, with the open beta, they've only got 1 map and 2 game modes, which, with it being a beta, what else can we expect? We've been spoilt with Steam betas, because Steam betas really are just, here's the entire game, we will continue to fix it providing that you continue to buy it. Whereas that's not the way that it works with AAAs, and they've only started doing this open beta thing to get an idea of how it's going to be received. But saying that, what they've done with Battlefield 1 so far does make it enjoyable. I can imagine there are a lot of people sinking a great deal of hours into it. First person shooter wise, I think I'll stick with Overwatch for now. I'll wait until the full game gets released, then maybe I'll buy it. Possibly. At the moment, I'm not unimpressed. I think the game is good. I just don't think that I'd get £50 or £60 worth of enjoyment out of the game. And let's face facts, we've all been let down recently by a £50 game. Not that I want to name drop No Man's Sky in every one of my videos, but until that game gets better. I think overall the game has stayed true to its promise by bringing an unparalleled interpretation of World War I into a first person shooter game. Medal of Honor was always a little bit over the top. At times it could be quite easy, it was very predictable. Obviously with Battlefield 1's online mode, I can't possibly comment on the campaign yet, it does feel like you're participating in a war. You do feel that you have to group up. There are squads with squad objectives, although nobody takes notice of the squad objectives at all. I can imagine if you were playing with a group of friends, if there were 5 of you heading a squad, then yeah, maybe it would be beneficial. But when you're just playing with a bunch of random people, I'm not the type of person who has my mic on when I'm playing games like this. I don't want to hear teenagers not enjoying the game because they're too busy screaming at everybody else in the team for not performing well. I hate that aspect of online gaming. Playing with friends, on the other hand, a great deal of my friends don't play games anymore. Not at the age I am now. We're all leading various lives, and out of the 5 or 6 gamers out of my original high school friends, only 2 or 3 of us still play games regularly. And I think really it's just me and one other, the guy I was playing Overwatch with in the last video. I think the point I'm trying to get across is, if you liked the previous Battlefield games, then you will enjoy this Battlefield game. If you like first-person shooters, regardless of brand, then this is definitely going to be a game for you, and I think downloading the open beta is definitely the way forward to get a taste of what's to come. For people who are casual first-person shooter players, this game isn't really for you. The game is very difficult. It punishes you. It's not the kind of game that you can pick up every now and then and have a laugh with, unless you don't mind dying regularly. I think if you want a more friendly, casual first-person shooter, I'd stick with Overwatch. But that's just my opinion, and that's why it's called Opinion Corner. Take it easy, guys. I'll see you next week.